Hello friends, I'm here in Monroe Village Cemetery in Monroe, Maine. And last year I documented this cemetery. It took me a few weeks. It's a medium-sized Maine cemetery. It differs from most old Maine cemeteries in that the newer burials are in the back and the older burials start near the road. So what probably happened is it dates back about 200 years. The oldest burial I think I've seen is about 1825 here. So I think they started near probably what was an old dirt road at the time and then just kept clearing more land to make more room as the years went on. But you can see a lot of zinc graves here. Zinc will hold up a long time. There's almost no plant or fungal growth on these old zinc graves. But I'll show you a few highlights of this cemetery. As you walk up here, you can see the name Nye. It's another zinc grave. Father, wife, that's their footstones. The actual burials would be right behind the footstones. And it says David A. Nye, born January 17 of 1831, died October 23, 1911. So he was 80 years old. There's his wife, Jane E., wife of David A. Nye, 1834-1903. They're actually buried to the right of that monument. You can see the footstones we just looked at. Got some of these unique family plot enclosures. You can see father, mother back there for the McKinney family. A lot of children's graves scattered. Mary J., daughter of William P. and Lucy E. Perry. Usually they have some more details on the back. Died June 13th of 1874, 5 years, 11 months, 19 days. Always a little sad when you see that 11 months. They almost made it to their next birthday. This is William and Helen. So William very well could have been married twice, because little Mary here, daughter of William P. and Lucy E. So Lucy and Helen could have been William's two wives. And this cemetery is a little bit more elaborate than most old ones. You've got sort of this steps leading up to the Stearns family monument. And then you've got mother and father and Emma buried there. And getting toward the late 1800s, we were leaning more toward these white stones. They seem to hold up pretty well, actually. A little bit thicker than the early 1800 ones. Here's a tomb where actually two families are buried in, and it doesn't really look big enough for two families. There's 7 people total buried here, though. Not a very huge tomb, but they must have maximized all the space inside. On one side, you have the Smith family. David Smith died 1907, 80 years old in 24 days. His wife, Elvira, who died 1927, age, 95 years, 8 months, and 11 days. And then their daughter, Jenny M., daughter of D.H. and Elvira N. Smith, died April 10, 1875, 9 years, 8 months, and 20 days. You walk to the front, you can see it's long since been sealed, and this was built in 1868. On the other side, we have the McKinney family. You've got Horace McKinney, I believe his sister, Mrs. Laura McKinney, wife of David Dolliff, John McKinney, and then Lizzie McKinney. The oldest burial here is Horace, who passed away 1867. So they either buried him and then reinterred him in this tomb, or they kept him maybe in a mausoleum until the following year when the family tomb was built. But still very cool. It's probably about 7 feet across and probably about 5'10", I would say, but very well kept up. No moss or anything growing on it. A.W. Benson, born June 17, 1822, died January 7 of 1862. 39 years, 6 months, 20 days. It says, I see a hand you cannot see, which beckons me away. I hear a voice you cannot hear, which says I must not stay. Very cryptic. I don't know for sure. There could be another person buried there. There's plenty of room, and obviously Mr. Benson's stone has long since fallen. Here's a mother and father, or at least husband and wife stone, side by side on this slab. So it says, my wife Elizabeth. 23rd Psalm is on it. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. And then it says, Maine.Old's. He lives whom we call dear. He may have been a veteran. You do have a flag there. Very, very difficult to read that. It's mostly broken stone. You can read Elizabeth's very well, though. It says, Mrs. Elizabeth R., wife of Benjamin Wilds, died August 31, 1879, 69 years, 6 months, 29 days. Quite a disparity in the shape between the two. Some more older, whiter ones. The ones right beside the road are in decent shape too. Again, 1860s to 1890s. Various shapes of repair. There's another child's tomb. It says Louis Flanders, born November 27, 1891, died July 18, 1875. 7 years, 18 days. Not sure if these are his parents or not, but you have David Flanders and Mahala Flanders. And Levi Flanders. It says there is rest in heaven on that one. And lots of flags. We have a lot of veterans buried here. This Eugene Buzzell was a corporal in World War II. And his wife, Edna Knight Buzzell. This would be an Army-issued Civil War marker. E.P. Campbell, Company A, 13th Maine Infantry. Some more Civil War veterans. This one was pretty impressive. Noah, Company C, 8th Regiment, Maine Volunteer, died January 15th of 1866. 20 years, 12 days, son of Elijah and Marion Buzzell. The bottom it says he fought in 16 battles. Can you imagine that? Being 20 years old, fighting in 16 battles. By 1866, the Civil War was over. It ended in 1865, so it's possible he may have sustained war injuries and died the following year, or it could have been just an illness. It was that time period. Here's a couple really old ones amongst the relatively newer ones, but this stone will be 200 years old September 5th of this year, and it looks pretty good for being 200 years old. There's no chips in it, no cracks. It's dusty, of course, but not bad. It says sacred to the memory of Rufus Bartlett, who died September 5th, 1825, age 39. Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ and thou shalt be saved. His wife's grave is in great shape too, although not quite as old as his. It's not much younger either. So Maria A., wife of Rufus Bartlett, died September 10, 1836, age 45. The remembrance of the just is blessed. So she died 5 days and 11 years after him. You have some other Bartletts here. Right behind them was Walter. 1852 to 1924. I don't know if that's the son of Rufus or not. It would be about the same period. His wife, Adelia J., 1851 to 1942, and their daughter, Gladys M. Manser, 1891 to 1918. And I believe Walter had 2 wives, because here in front of that, and next to the first 2 we looked at, is Rose S., wife of Walter Bartlett, died October 28th, 1882, 33 years, 2 months, and 5 days. It says, husband and child, I must leave you. Leave you all alone. They didn't mince words back then. A couple other Bartletts. You have Enoch in this sort of marble type stone from the later 1800s. Died August 1st, 1870, age 43 years, 2 months, 7 days, gone but not forgotten. And then Anna B. Robertson, former wife of Enoch Bartlett, died September 9th, 1912. She outlived him by 42 years. That's why it says former. Died September 9th, 1912, 86 years, 5 months, 14 days. We shall meet again, it says. Here you have some footstones of the folks we just saw. Nice row there. And you can see these white stones go quite a ways back, actually. A lot of these obelisks back here too, the family ones. Here's a nice marble one. George D. Grant died 1916, age 87 years, and his wife Mary Grant died 1894, 61 years, 6 months. Finding some older slate ones again. So you have Joseph Neely. This is sacred to the memory of, who died October 16th of 1830. He was 50 years, so he was born about 1780. Stranger, hast thou a tear for the deceased? It says he was a kind husband on the very bottom. And there's his wife, who actually outlived him by about 39 years. So Cynthia, wife of Joseph Neely, died November 22nd, 1869, age 84 years, 8 months, 7 days. Here's possibly a brother, I'm not sure, but it says sacred to the memory of John B. Neely. As you can see, it's been repaired many times. It's got the metal frames on it, clamped on, and you can see the core of it. So this one has been repaired over the years. Can't read the date, except it says May, it looks like 7th. Tread softly o'er this hallowed ground. A kind, lamented friend lies here. Ye who have felt misfortune frown, come pause and drop a tender tear. Wow. Speaking to us from way back in the 1800s. There's some other old ones. You have Mrs. Sarah, wife of Captain James Clark, died December 4th, 1838, age 22 years. Long shall thy memory be revered by one who knew thy worth. By him to who thou wast endeared, by strongest ties of earth. Some real poetry back then. And I'm right on a slant, so I'm trying to read this as I'm sort of leaning toward the stone. Hannah S., wife of Greenleaf Neely, died October 23rd, 1870, age 21. 1840, rather, age 21. Still pretty good shape for their age, but definitely showing some signs of weathering. So, 1840, 1838. They died 2 years apart. Mrs. Sarah, wife of Captain James Clark, and Hannah S., wife of Greenleaf Neely. Greenleaf Not a super common first name, it's more common as a last name. In the shade of that little tree here. You can see another zinc stone. Ralph Parker, 1850 to 1875. Leonard Parker, 1854 to 1855. Some more Parkers. Edwin, Otis, Laura. William Henry Parker, definitely a Civil War veteran. Company G, 14th Maine Volunteers, 1848 to 1887. There's his marker. Department Post 74, Grand Army Republic of Maine. Getting near the front by the road here. Nice slender monument. Lydia, wife of Franklin Hanson, died March 6th of 1860, 28 years, 6 months. Roswell Emery died December 24th, Christmas Eve, 1862, 60 years. Very well could have died in the Civil War. He definitely was a veteran. There's his marker. 1862 was the middle of the Civil War. He would have been 60, but it's not outside the realm of possibility that he was in active combat then. Or he could have been a Revolutionary War hero. Could he? No, couldn't have been. He would have been born about 1802, so that would have been after the Revolutionary War. And likely his children, Louisa, Sarah, Albert. So, cool old cemetery, Monroe Village Cemetery, Monroe, Maine.